What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning to another episode of Right on Cue Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Logan Chestnut, Small Batch Barbecue. Joining me tonight is my barbecue brother, Mr. Matt Osmond Sr., Mr. AKA Blinky's Offset Barbecue, AKA Mr. Salad Shooter. How you doing, Mr. Osmond?
What's going on, brother? I'm well, sir. I'm well. Trying to keep warm in these what's supposed to feel like single digits for us, right?
Yeah, this feels like negative polar bear stuff, man. Now, this weather like makes me question the sanity of people to live up north in like Minnesota and Alaska. And like, are y'all high? Granted,
they're acclimated. They're acclimated to it. That's what they do. That's how they operate. It's part of it. They're geared for it. The cities are prepared for it. We're in this small mesh area where we get 4 seasons. We'll get some snow, we'll get ice, but everybody's just, they freak out. They freak out when it happens. I had to travel.
I freak out. It's too cold.
Yeah, I traveled out west for some family stuff. My wife had a grandparent who passed, and that whole storm that came from Texas. But dude, you know what? That was like the route we took, which was 40 to 30 to 20 clear roads. Like I didn't see salt or this. It was like the perfect storm of snow and cold weather that the highways were open. Now there was almost nobody on it, which I was very thankful for, but it just, weather is definitely there. And yes, for those who live in continuously cold or brutal winters, etc.,
y'all are stupid.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
no hats off. Y'all are stupid. But come on down to the warm weather. Although I feel like in the land of the Arctic and Eskimos, the husky man reigns supreme. And I being a husky man myself,
got some insulation on you.
Hey, what ladies? I can keep you. Yeah, that's a different subculture. We're not talking about otters and furries and stuff like that. Power bottoms. I definitely am like, hey, I can keep you warm in the winter. How you doing? The 6-pack abs. I mean, they look pretty, but they're not going to keep you warm. It's the husky fellas that'll keep you warm at night.
Listen, my wife tells me all the time, "You're warm in bed." So hey, that's good for me. I'll take it.
Hey, we are PG-13, sir. Keep that to the minimum. No, man. It's first of all, man, thank you everybody for coming on here and hanging out with us tonight, live, because I know the national championship game is on. Go Irish. Dude, SEC this was the first year SEC hasn't been in the national championship. I mean, like 10 years.
What's wrong with that? So
a lot.
No.
I hate the Buckeyes. So I'm sorry. I hate Ohio State Buckeyes. Terrible.
Okay, look right here. Okay, so I'm still holding on. I'm still holding on to 2001. 8 seconds later, a flag, passive interference, whatever. Now we let Ohio State come back. That's Miami's fault, but nonetheless, we got robbed on that one. I got a good buddy, Bobby, who's a giant Ohio State fan. They can't do any wrong. And he's back and forth with Ryan Day. Like, we hate you, we love you,
I hate to admit it, man, because like I said, I am a Ohio State hater. When I played basketball at Morehead State, all the Ohio kids would come to Morehead because it's cheaper to pay out-of-state tuition at Morehead than it was to pay in-state tuition at Ohio State. So when we were playing basketball at our games, and people were like, "Oh, we're watching the Ohio State game." I'm like, "Damn it, you go to Morehead, come cheer us on." So not salty at all. But it's all good, man. It's all good. We always got SEC is flipped, man. Where SEC is now a basketball conference.
Yeah,
we're no longer football. We're a basketball conference.
But Saban's not at Alabama anymore. So
they're in a dumpster fire.
You have this void. You have this lack of it. Did you see? I saw it on a headline. MLK Day, Inauguration Day today. There was an Alabama fan who called into like C-SPAN or something like that. They were taking phone calls and complained about the college committee not putting Alabama in.
You lose 3 games. I mean, they don't know what to do themselves. But like you lost 3 games, so I can't blame the commission or the committee for not putting Alabama in the playoffs because they lost 3 games. But I don't know. All I know is my Kentucky team should have made it 2 with our 20 losses.
Hey, you know what? 2 of those losses were here in Tennessee. Okay, so just hats off to them. The
Alabama's
got it done.
2 of Alabama's losses are in Tennessee too.
You know who hasn't been losing though?
What?
Our guest tonight.
They haven't. These guys. We have. Moving on. I like that little transfer. That's my gig. You're taking it from me. I see how it is. Moving on my territory. No, man. Yeah, absolutely. Our guests tonight are 2 culinary studs and giants in the barbecue world from the great city of Kansas City, Missouri. These guys, killer rubs, killer barbecue, and just great guys all around. So without further ado, let's bring on the boys from Jdq Boom. That's right. Did I do it right?
Yeah,
you're right.
Good, man. It's all
That's
good.
cool.
What's good, boys?
What's up, ladies? Gentlemen. What's up, man? I welcome. Thank you so much for coming to our humble abode, our show, hanging out with us on National Championship Monday. We appreciate it. You guys, I've wanted to have you guys on for a while. I've been a big fan of y'all's, and I got to meet y'all last year at the Missouri contest and had some beers and talk, and good dude. So, but I really here we go. Jdq Boom, you got your own little following coming on the show already. But no, man, tell us about you guys. How'd you get started? Where did Jdq come from, and all that good jazz? Kick it off.
Yeah, no, Jdq is pretty simple. It's my name. It's Josh DeWitt Q. I came up cooking with a couple different people. I had a really good friend of mine. He, God rest his soul, passed away some years ago, where he had got into barbecue, and I was thankfully a good friend of his through soccer. And I just wanted to be a sponge. I wanted to learn. His name was Matt Ireland. And he only would cook the American Royal every year. And so I'd go out, and I'd go hang out, and I'd wash dishes. I would man the fire. I would do whatever he told me I needed to do, just because I wanted to be a part of this. I'm a competitive person, but I never understood why he wouldn't cook any other competitions. He only did the Royal. And I was just like, this is crazy. And so when the Royal moved from the West Bottoms, they moved out to Arrowhead. In the first year at Arrowhead, we backed up to these knuckleheads called Fergalicious Barbecue. And it was
I've heard of them.
It was Richard, it was Jeremy, and they brought on this guy out of St. Louis called Mike Johnson. And it was crazy. And my kid, he was little at the time. He was probably 5 or 6. I can't even remember. It was a long time ago. And Jeremy, what was that, like 8 years ago, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think 6 or 7. Yeah, so it's been a while.
It was a long time ago for what it was, because we did that. I mean, we were there. I got to meet him. I mean, this is when you guys had Richard, you or whoever had the little teeny trailer. You guys had a name for it or whatever it was.
It's called Snowflake. It's just a little white trailer. Snowflake.
Yeah, and I mean, I learned so much that weekend from just being around them and hanging out and whatever else. And we went to awards, and of course, we didn't win anything. I don't even know if you guys got any calls that weekend while we were out there at Arrowhead. No, okay. But still, it was a lot of fun. Made great content, and what really came from that is Richard and Jeremy at that time were teaching classes, and I figured out, like, if I was going to get any better, that I needed to go continue my education, and I needed to go, see what was going on. And I had heard I needed to go become a judge. I needed to figure out, just more about barbecue in general. I knew I loved to cook. I knew I could cook. So I started taking those processes and those steps, and I went and did that. I went and took Jeremy and Richard's class at that point. Had some fun with that, and one thing led after another, and it's like a disease, and it
is.
And I started making my own rubs. What's up, Josh? And then yeah, I was making rubs in my kitchen and I was giving them to people and giving them to different people that were cooking, and they started winning and they started getting big calls. And then KC Grilling Company opened. I had an opportunity to go, have a part-time job over there. And then I really dove into barbecue. And it was just like one thing after another. And it just kept falling, things just kept falling into place. And I mean, it finally got to a point where Jeremy and I were able, like I had left, Matt had passed away and I had started cooking with another guy and things were great. And then things kind of went south and I had left and Jeremy and Richard had their thing and Jeremy decided to step aside and Jeremy and I were like, hey, you want to cook? And like, yeah, let's go cook. And so we decided to go cook. And that's kind of where it came from. And we've been cooking, 5 years now, Jay?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Okay, there you go. 4 years. And that's kind of the background of the JDQ barbecue. We've been Smoking Brothers Pro Team, helping out Smoking Brothers, and because we were sponsored by them, and we're sponsored by Royal Oak Charcoal, and that's kind of the background to say with me. But the rubs just kind of took off, and that's kind of where I kind of came from, was the rub side of things. I've been super blessed with being attached with some super good recipes with a lot of really good cooks across the nation that have won a lot of really big things. And that's been cool. And a couple years ago, I was blessed with winning the best rub on the planet with my spicy rub. And that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, Jeremy and I have fun. We love to cook. We love teaching. Jeremy's background's a teacher, and so he keeps me in check. That's really why we do as good as we do when we do go out and cook. Because otherwise I'd be out talking to everybody trying to sell my shit. But I mean, otherwise Jeremy's like, no, come on, get your ass back here. We got shit to do. So I mean, that's how it works.
That's how I feel like all great competition barbecue duos are. It's like one guy is the crazy guy who's usually messier and kind of just go with the flow. That's me. And then the yin to the yang, the other guy is very structured and on point and keeps everything reeled in. And that's what makes a good cohesive team right there.
No, absolutely, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I keep trying to get my wife to be a part of my team because she would definitely ground me. Definitely, I would never miss a turn-in, even though I haven't missed as many as Logan has.
It's true.
And
there's suggestions. There's suggestions.
It's more of a time range.
Plus or minus.
She would, and she's got a great palate, but she just, for the life of her, she's like, you go do your thing. I kind of don't want, and it's just, so I bring the boy with me, but he's not as much of a help as perhaps my bride would be. So, darling, if you're listening and you want to come, I'm just saying this year's a new year.
It's always a new year. My wife's like, it smells too much like smoke and barbecue, and I don't want to sleep in that nasty trailer. So that's her excuse. I think she just, I think it's me.
You sanitize it after.
I always sanitize. I'm a very clean person. No, I'm not. Houston is though. That's part of his duties. He helps me keep the trailer spick and span ish. But no. So, did both of you guys, like you said, Jeremy, you said you're a teacher background or education background or?
Yeah, yes, sir. I've been in education for 25 years. Teaching and coaching, and that's kind of how I got into this whole thing. You get into connecting with people, and as you mentioned earlier, Richard and I kind of came from the same background of teaching and coaching. We're both wrestling coaches, and just started like everybody else does. Hey, just coming together, hanging out, cooking. Decided to do a few comps, grew into that. We expanded into, that was around 2012. Started judging, and we tell everybody, hey, if you want to get into barbecue, I think the best part of competition barbecue is judging, because you show up, you eat, you leave. You don't have to worry about anything else. So we did that. We got fortunate enough to be on Barbecue Pitmasters. We started the rub line, things like that. And as everything goes through ebb and flow of business and things, and and it took a while, and my kids got busy, life got crazy. I decided I would take some time off, and we were talking a little bit before we came in, talking about trimming chicken and things like that. It's really weird. When I was on a hiatus, when I was out of the game, so to speak, I missed it. I missed building boxes. Seriously, I missed that building box side of things, and I missed trimming chicken. So we got into
Something's wrong.
I got to take a break to like it again, but
Something's wrong with you, my friend. Something's the screw is loose.
it's really weird.
I called it earlier. It's a disease, and once it hits us,
Disease.
Yeah,
It's a fever, and the only prescription is more chicken thighs.
yeah.
But there's moments when you just those times when you're in the trailer and you're doing something, and you're picking parsley, the music's on, you're just having a good time, you're doing anything. But we had a lot of success. We had a lot of fun, did a lot of good things, and was fortunate enough to represent Kansas City in the Kansas City barbecue scene and on chops. Was able to move on from there, and then like I said, took some time off, and Josh and I have just been able to kind of connect and just continue just having fun, kind of getting back into. I'm not supporting. I'm not a businessman. I'm just supporting other people in their businesses, which is great, and I enjoy promoting the products that stand behind me, and I stand behind them, and so it's easy. I can go out there and I can organize things, and we can do this and that, and we can go have fun. And one of our themes here end of last year, and I think you talk about resolutions. It's all about experiences, and now in barbecue, and we're fortunate enough in the Kansas City metro area and Missouri area, we can drive within an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we can get to anything. And those are great, and we get to see some of our friends, and a lot of times it's the same people over and over and over and over. Now it's just time looking for different experiences, going to a few things. We were able to go to Seattle, which is a great event, and so doing some of those things and supporting those that support us and having a good time is kind of where we're at now. We're looking to do, we do 8 to 10 comps, but mixed in is Josh is at Houston, Windy City Smokeout. We're doing roll, the When Pigs Fly. We just did this last week. Doing events, doing different things, and then we got to support this crazy thing and maybe do a little catering here and there to raise some funds and do some things like that and help out those that are around us. So I've just kind of expanded from there, and that's where we're at now. So kind of how
what's the furthest comp that you guys do? You mentioned Seattle, but like on a regular basis, or the ones that you like, hate that drive, but man, it's a great comp. What are those?
Yeah, what's the range?
Area?
So we what'd you say?
I mean, Oklahoma. I mean, if we're going to make that a yearly trip, I'd say that's probably the farthest one that we've done. But we've talked about going to Texas to go play with the Outlaw Boys. Justin West is a good friend of ours. We'd love to do a CBA event if we can figure out times. But I mean, again, it's barbecue doesn't control our timeline. Experiences control our timelines. And that's kind of where we've decided to go with this. And like, we're more, I think, at a point that we want to help give back and still be able to go cook these contests and hear our names if we're lucky enough to hear our names. Mm-hmm. But we get so excited to be able to hear the guys that are with us, that are using our products and that are out there just beating the pavement like we used to and like what we're doing now. But yeah, I mean, we were 3 weeks ago. Was that 3 weeks ago? We were down in Oklahoma for the Rib Cook-Off Association.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did pretty good.
You didn't start off very good. We left Gardner and got about an hour outside of Kansas City, and bearings blew out on one of our wheels on the trailer. And it took everything I could do to keep Jeremy not from wanting to turn around and go home. And he's like, I'm done. I had an epiphany about this where we're not doing this. I'm going home. I'm like, no, dude. Like, I got these guys. Like, I have good friends with the company, Marvin Towing here in Kansas City. Thank you, Marvin. Him and one of his boys came down. They went and got the parts, the pieces, came down, jacked the trailer up, fixed it, did everything they needed to do for the bearings, got us on the road. I mean, a 5-hour trip. What did it take us? 12 hours to get there?
It took way too long, but we were sitting on the side of the road. A crazy storm's coming in. We have, I don't know how many slabs of ribs and all this stuff in there. And I'm just sitting there going, this is a sign. This is a sign. So you mentioned those relationships and those connections. And literally, he called Justin West. And sometimes it just takes a big Texan to talk you off the ledge. And he did. He's like,
it helps.
He was get it fixed, get down here, cook those ribs, win, and head home. And I just think that's kind of what ended up happening. So Justin really pep talk. I know he's getting ready to teach classes coming out soon. I think he's going to put a motivational pep talk class out there.
Very nice.
Sure as all helped us out, and we owe him big for that. But it's just one of those moments you're like, gosh, dang it, why? What's going on? What are we going to do from here? It's like we'll just go home and we'll just sell these. Or I told my son, I'm like, he's home from college. It's like, how many ribs?
Are you hungry?
Because there were was there 100 plus teams? I think I knew some folks who had gone out there.
There's like 130, I think what it was. 120. I think there was supposed to be 210 were invited, and not everybody could come. And then I think there was 130, and I think from a turn-in standpoint, I think on baby backs there was like 128, and I think on spares there was like 125, something of that nature. And we did chicken wings. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
But yeah, that whole Rib Cook-Off Association thing is just, I mean, it's something that people need to look into as a option. So many people say, man, this barbecue game is expensive, and it is, and it's expensive. And Richard and I went and we ran for Team of the Year points, and we went all over the place and did 30 plus competitions, and it was grinding, and it was grueling, and it was running, and it was boom, boom, boom. And we went from Fargo to Florida to Cincinnati out to Vegas, running all over the place. Having these guys that are coming in to barbecue, having what backyard, whether or not it's the name that needs to be called it, but having options to come in and say, hey, I can just do chicken and ribs, or I can do the 4 meats, or now I can do ribs. And this Rib Cook-Off Association and Dirk and Jody have done an amazing job with it, and it's just booming. It's going all across the country, and I mean, it's a great option. You could throw Josh and I the first time we cooked, put a couple drums in the truck, ran down to Oklahoma, set up, cooked, boom, we were back. And it wasn't much, and it's take a whole lot. The turn-ins are simple, and it's very relaxed. And sometimes they throw in things like Josh was getting ready to say. There was wings. They had s'mores for the kids. Just a great option for people who want to get into competitive cooking that don't want to go big.
I mean, and it wasn't just like a bunch of people who's never cooked before showed up.
No, there was some hitters.
I mean, Bobby Oliver ran the table on that league all year long. I mean, and Bobby's a Jack Daniels world champion. Bobby is a Memphis. I mean, and Bobby's a stud.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got Eric Williams from Canned Meats who took second in their points chase. I mean,
was Bosca there? I know he was supposed to be. Yeah. Did he compete?
I don't think no. David wasn't there.
Okay.
But I mean, there were so many people there. I mean, it was huge. And I mean, the layout over there in Shawnee, that facility David Qualls has, I mean, is fantastic. The arena where they did awards, and Jody and Dirk, it was unbelievable. They served dinner the night of awards. The prize pool, the money that was there. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I think I ended up, Cordy Meat sent me, what did we get? 18 slabs of ribs.
Wow.
Is that what we got for this thing?
I think so. We had baby bags and we had spares.
Yeah, because we both had to cook. We cooked against each other, obviously.
Yeah.
And we don't cook against each other very often. So that was fun within itself. You got bragging rights for what we do. And we had cooked in 2 of these prior, like Jeremy was saying. When our first one we went, I went 3rd, and Jeremy tied for 5th. And I think tenderness put you at 7th?
Yeah.
something like that. And then we cooked another one that was here close to home. Jeremy ended up getting first. He won it, and I took third. And those are the only two that we cooked. And all these other guys, and that was like the second to the last contest of the year for them.
Mhm.
So as I'm going to say shitty as it was for us to come in and steal points from the point chasers that were running around doing what we did, but we kind of came in and did that. I mean, it was what it was. And but then, being able to go down there and do that and see everybody and have the fun that we did, and then to get the results that we did was cool. Jeremy killed it. Jeremy took second overall. I took 10th overall, so the two of us were top 10 in the world from the year for them. What'd you get? 5th in spares and 9th in baby backs, and I was 27th in baby backs and 6th in spares, I think it was. And then they hated our chicken wings.
Yeah,
I mean, we ate the shit out of them. Justin West said they were the best chicken wings he's had in a long time.
You guys did what? Pork steak also, right?
Yeah, we didn't cook it. I mean, that was
Okay.
the thing. We were coming down Friday night, and we knew that we were going to be there in time to cook it, but we had no intentions on cooking it. And
Yeah.
But it was a good thing we weren't going to cook it, because we wouldn't have got a chance to cook it.
we would have missed turn-ins.
We would have missed it. That's the one thing. Hey, that's the one thing him and I haven't done yet. No, knock on wood.
Yeah. Your time will come. Your time will come.
Not with his timeline.
Yeah. Once in my career, and it was potatoes at the American Royal was the only time that I think so far that I've been a part of this madness and missed it. And so when our buddy Rick walked back into the trailer, we're like, he's still holding it, and we're like, what happened? He's like, we missed it. So I guess if you're going to miss anything, an ancillary is the great thing to do.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. Definitely not one of the main proteins for the GC. No, definitely not.
Bobby.
But no, man. I want to talk about I wouldn't mind talking about the rib thing. So how did they score? So can you cook? Like, how does that go? Is it kind of like KCBS where it's a 0 to 9 kind of point score, and then, or like, do you cook both spares and babies at the same contest, or how's that work? And how many bones do you turn in a box?
You want to go, Jay?
Well, each category or each event is a little unique to their own. So leading up to it, some of them had spares, some of them had babies. The two competitions that we competed in were all spares, and you need to at least put 6 in there, and it's a foil in the box. There's no garnish, no greenery kind of thing.
Which was a little confusing, I think, to some teams. I followed some folks who had gone out there at least 6, right? Or only 6.
At least 6.
I think there was some dispute of, at least for newer teams, maybe of what was allowed and what was not allowed, because the judges could only judge you off of the 6 bones, but you could fill a box, with 12 bones if you could fit them in there, if you had them. Yeah,
correct. At least get what you can in there. And the cool thing about it is they'll take they'll take that rib out, so they're not really judging your box. Which all of us that are in this comp world is going to do the best we can to present our food. But they'll take it off your plate, and then they'll look at it and judge that individual rib and go that route when they're tasting it. And like Josh mentioned that I got dinged. We tied for 5th and ended up getting 7th, and it all came down to tenderness score. Same thing happened in the World Championships. Is tied. There was, I think, 3 or 4 of us that tied, and so I ended up losing. The first to second place, all about my tenderness score. So you got to cook things a little bit differently in this whole deal, because not to say that it's good or bad, but there are certified judges versus in the KCBS world and other sanctioning worlds versus what the Rib Cook-Off Association is doing is they're grabbing some people and saying, hey, you like to eat barbecue? Come on over here. Let's judge, and let's have people in there. So when we go to a basic barbecue shop down the way or store, restaurant, ribs are going to be a little bit different. So they're going to be more fall off the bone and things along that line versus what we would cook for KCBS is going to be a little different. So the judging is there. I think it was it's the appearance, taste, tenderness. I think though that it still weighs on the tenderness side of things, and they do kind of similar to SCA doing decimal points and stuff like that. And I think was 9 the highest, Josh, on that whole side.
No, because you can go 9 point something, I believe. They have decimals after 9. I think you can't get 10, but you got 9 points, or there's decimals that are involved somewhere in there. I'd have to go back and look at what it was, but
which was a big contention online, because also kind of like SCA, you're given the ticket and they call out your ticket number for your ranking. And I watched.
Are they doing walk-up music? Are they doing walk-up music on these things?
No,
that should be across the board. That should be across the board. I think on all the comps.
Yeah,
Bobby got a lot of accolades because he's Bobby Oliver, so a lot of people knew him. But most others, and again, from me as somebody who watched it live, everybody's, who is it? Just call their team name. Just you. I mean, everybody was mad because they're just calling out the ticket numbers.
Yeah, no, and we heard that too, and we get it, and by all means, I mean, they're not trying to be the SCA. They want nothing to be like the SCA. And this being their first year, I know I've spoke with Dirk, I spoke with Jody. I mean, I know they're working through whatever they need to make their association the best that they can do for what they're trying to do. And you're going to live and learn. And they learned a lot from their first year at their, world championships. And I think next year, I think you're not going to know the name of the person when you have tickets for, spare ribs or for, baby backs. But when it comes down to the overall, I think they would. I mean, I don't know. I didn't talk to him about that. But at that point, you would have seen us walk up. You would have known who we were or whatever the case is. Or even you could hand us the mic and, say, who are you? I mean, we're not trying to get up there and say, hey, who do you use? I use JDQ and I use this. And none of that. I mean, that's
you're not an SCA.
Right.
Yeah,
if I'm going to go cook SCA, then I'm going to get up and I'm going to shout out my sponsors and shout out what I do. I mean, that's Brett Gallo, and that's what they do, and that's their niche, and it's awesome. And I mean, and that's what you do when you go cook SCA. We were just with Brett this weekend. I love the dude, love his wife, and I mean, that's their niche, I
wouldn't mind a unanimous, like, hey, you got 10 seconds, right? If you have a sponsor, if you're to me, just me personally, my opinion, anybody who gets a walk, hey, here's a mic for 10 seconds. And there'll be like a pitch count in baseball or a pitch clock, because it's a business, as you well know. And you want, other than the standard, right? The after comp post thinking spot, which is good, which is there, but it would not hurt.
I think a lot of it had to do too, and I mean, Dirk and Jody can correct me if I'm wrong after the fact here, but with the storm that was coming through the Midwest.
Oh yeah, that was
happening exactly at that time.
They're like, let's go.
Yeah, well, Dr. Squealgood and a couple of the teams that I sponsor, were there cooking, and they were planning on heading home. And like, I had talked to them, and I'm like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, Jeremy and I've been watching this stuff on both of our cameras on outside of our houses. And Jeremy's like, look what's at my house. And Jeremy lives in Gardner, Kansas, and I live in South KC-Mo. And I live literally like 6 miles from the state line. Mm-hmm. And we can see the difference of what's happened to him to where I'm at. So it's hitting his house before it hits my house. And it was nuts. I mean, you ended up Jeremy got like 14 or 15 inches of snow to where I got 10 or 11. He had, would you have a half inch of ice or a quarter inch ice? And I had like a half inch of ice at my house.
Whose trailer was it that was like completely iced over? I had friends who cooked out there. JC Blurton, Bugsy Q. She's another Heath team, and they had gone out there to compete. And I forget who did, but her dad showed me somebody's trailer because a lot of folks even left. They didn't even full with awards from that storm coming. It was no joke.
Yeah. No. It wasn't. Jeremy and I, we talked about it before we go, like weeks before we left. We knew we were sticking around Saturday night, no matter what we did, like how we performed, whatever the case was. that we were going to hang out with our friends that we never get to see from Texas and whatever else. We had a hotel, and we were going to leave the next morning. Once all this went down, it was a conversation. It was like, how we getting home, bro? And we had to figure out like a different way to get home. And a buddy of ours, Roger Gibbs, who was down there cooking as well, we kind of hollered at him, and he sat with us, and I think he got a call in chicken for chicken wings.
Absolutely.
But we decided to roll up to Tulsa on that Monday. Oh no, on that Sunday when we woke up.
I was just there.
We went from Tulsa, like the Hard Rock area, and then went up to Pittsburgh, where Jeremy's very familiar with. And we got up to there, and it was like, nope, can't go any farther north. But we were already 2 hours farther north than we could have got because the highways were closed down in Kansas on the other side if we would have tried to go up through Wichita. And so we stopped at a casino, hung out, watched Chiefs game, watched football. It really wasn't a Chiefs game. It was a Denver game.
Oh, yeah, that one.
We had our C squad in. I think the practice squad played.
Yeah, which, if you would have just beat Denver, then the Dolphins might have taken care of business and we would have beat the Jets. And I'm just saying. So,
yeah.
thanks.
But you had the first pick. Yeah, but you had the first pick in the draft. Yeah. We suck the best.
And who's your GM?
We just went, woo!
Yeah.
We couldn't get into the city. Like we were trying to get into the city. We're like, hey, we're here, and worked our way back. But yeah, it all worked out well. When you were talking about like going back to the World Championship competition, they took the combination of the two. They took the combination of the spares, the baby backs.
I know, big.
So,
that's a big loop we can't find, and we're back.
And here we go.
Back to your question. But yeah,
Meanwhile, back to the question.
They took the combination of the two to
I
go
got
back,
you.
and that's how they came out with the judging. There are a few. I know there's a few teams that are a few organizers that are looking at doing beef ribs. So it might be, hey, it's a rib.
Are they providing them?
Judges?
Yeah, I'll judge that. I don't.
So
that's so much.
Dude,
all that goes into play.
That'd be as long as a. So, all right. Have you ever? So, obviously, for brisket for KCBS, I mean, are y'all hot and fast when you cook? Are your can cookers, or what are you guys cooking on?
So yeah, we're starting on cans and we're finishing on our Smoking Brothers pellet grill.
Hybrid cooker, baby.
We've ran pellets multiple times. We ran pellets for a year and a half, 2 years, and we were just finding that we were there. We just weren't getting what we needed to get. So we've been running drums fueled by that roll of charcoal, and then we throw it on. The Smoking Brothers kind of help finish it out, but yeah. With our brisket, we're getting it up and it's already trimmed down, and I think that's the thing that people just don't realize is how we're getting it to where we needed to get it from the very beginning, and we're banging it out. So it's going on at 5-6 o'clock in the morning, and we're pulling it and letting it's sitting in the camera by 11:30 hopefully, so we can let it sit there for a little bit, and then we're going to work for that turn-in process. And that's the magic of I think the end of it is, yes, you got to get it tender, but then how do you finish?
Got to finish.
Right.
How do you take care of that?
So I'm glad you brought that up because I am also team hybrid. I get a lot of pure offset guys or whatever.
Hey.
And I like talking to. There's not many people on team hybrid like me, but I cook on a Lone Star pellet, the big cabinet one they got. And like I said, I love, so started my proteins on the can, and then you get that grill flavor, then you finish it up on the pellet. Because pellet, once you get the initial grill flavor and the smoke and everything like that, essentially you can throw it in the oven and get the same results, I feel like. And that's, for pellet smokers, it's about as consistent of cook, I feel like, as you can get versus stinky offsets.
Absolutely. And the game of at home, I'm cooking more on my pellet cooker or my Weber kettle. That's what I'm doing. It's quick, it's easy, it's consistent. I know what's going on. but when you're in the competition game, it's completely different. And you gotta do those things. You gotta mark those different flavors and those different levels. So yeah, and you figure out, okay, what can I do to where I can still, be consistent week after week, and I can also get sleep, because we're old.
That's the biggest thing right there. Sleep.
Yeah, get sleep and
sleep.
How can we adjust that timeline to make sure it benefits us? So,
Jeremy,
that's
question about your kettle. Will you co-sign that the classic 22-inch Weber kettle is the best penultimate single rack of ribs cooker?
No. What?
No, but I think every red-blooded American should own one in their house. I
agree.
I'm of the opinion, if you're cooking one rack of ribs against any other cooker on the planet, a 22-inch Weber kettle is the best cooker for a single rack of ribs. My opinion.
I think it's the starter drug. I mean, it's the gateway drug of barbecue, man. Like you're gonna start on.
I mean, the barbecue logo is Weber.
No. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a gateway drug. It's like your intro that, or like a pellet grill is like the intro drug into the world of barbecue, and then $100,000 later, you're crazy like us.
Yeah,
actually, yeah, absolutely.
No, so let me kind of dive in. I mean, my listeners and viewers would be pissed off at me if I didn't try to shake a little bit off of you guys, in generic fashion. Let's also stick with one subject, ribs, because you guys, like I said, you just kicked ass at the rib thing. I'm not gonna ask for any recipes or anything, but what do you have, like a brand specific ribs that you guys find? Like, do you think that like the different brands, that there's a huge quality kind of change between the four major brands in the barbecue world? Like,
I mean, this is an easy question, man. I tell you, man, we're Prairie Fresh all day, every day. Call Jay LaBello at Cordy Meats. He will hook you up. That's my dude. Tell him we sent you.
So primes, you do primes or naturals?
We're primes.
Ooh.
The only time I've ever cooked naturals was probably about a year and a half ago, maybe.
Wow.
When you slummed it?
Okay, I was saying you had to.
No, the primes were so thin for whatever reason, and I don't know why. They just, everything we could find here in Kansas City, and this is really before Jay and I really had the connection, and I knew what he was getting down there at that time.
So when you say thin, because I think this is something about meat selection that perhaps most don't talk about. What like this, like that? What's thin for your ribs?
What are you measuring, Matt? Like what are you doing?
The thickness of the rib. Are you going this? Are you going this? Like, because I've seen boxes like you've seen boxes.
Yeah. No, I mean,
well, I got that my fisherman tape out.
You said we're PG, so I like go ahead.
Yeah.
You going 13, tuna can 13. Or
I mean, anybody can pump the ribs up. It just matters on how your injection is and how you want to play that game, right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you can really tell. I mean, you start diving into cases of ribs, you can see some pretty funky ribs. I mean, you start thinking to yourself, like, what did this pig get itself into for it to be like this? I've called Jeremy and I've sent pictures to him. I've been like, this rib wore a helmet. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Its bust was shorter than the others.
His bones are going crossing. I mean, there's nothing straight about it. I'm like, how does this happen?
Sans marbling, what's your next go-to? Like, what are you looking for in a rack? Alt marbling.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Rib selection. Like when you walk up to the counter, or go through the cases, what is your like go-to? What are you looking for?
So obviously marbling is my go-to for what it is, and then I'll look for bones and see how straight they are. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of correct stuff for what you're doing. You're never going to find straight up and down bones, and if you do, you better take them and run, and you better save them for the right contest, and then you better cook those right.
Agreed.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, it doesn't matter how bad they are. It matters on how you trim them. And once you trim them, if you can trim them right, I mean, and then cook them right,
Mm-hmm.
and then cut them right. You know, Bill Purvis taught me a long time ago, just in conversations and watching him. He's a gangster. They don't get much better than him. And I mean, I don't know. He's been such a tool for me, just being able to have conversations with him and say, you know, why'd you do this? You know, okay, that makes a lot of sense, you know, and then playing with stuff and looking at stuff, seeing stuff, you know, and if you just pay attention, there's a lot of people out there that put a lot of content that you don't realize they're putting content out that they probably shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it. And they're like, why'd they do that? Huh. That's crazy. You know, and then you start like, I mean, at the end of the day, for what we do, it's all a science. You know, whether we like it or not. Yes, they didn't teach this in, you know, 11th grade science class on how to cook a slab of ribs.
If they did, I want to go to your school.
Right.
Sign me up.
Right. But I mean, if you really start thinking about what we do, it comes back to being a science. You know, you put your rub on too early, you're dehydrating your proteins. You know, you need to inject, because if you're doing the, I mean, it's all math.
Well,
you know, it's crazy.
To that point about schools, growing is the national high school barbecue competitions and cook-off in Texas, and you know, and so that, to me and to all of us who adults who this is our pastime, this is our passion, whether business or recreational, this is an opportunity for all those youth, especially high school, make the impression, give them a lifelong you know, talent to have, just cooking. Absolutely. And cooking to a tenderness, to a timeline, etc. And they're also competing.
Absolutely.
Because that's the torch pass that.
Absolutely. And I don't mean to cut you off for where you were going, but I mean, I was brought in this past year, over the past 6 months, with a school here in Kansas City called Broadmoor School, which is a very unique school that's ran by the Shawnee Mission School District in Kansas. And they have
what was that, salt or rub?
Doing like top ramen on the show. I mean, what's going on?
Oh, Jeremy, you're crazy.
That was a ninja plug.
Oh my goodness. They asked me if I'd come in, and what they do is they have a school where they actually have a restaurant in this building. It's like their district office, and they have a very high-end restaurant. And it's like a culinary experience where these kids, if they want to go to culinary school, like to a university, to Johnson & Wells, or to wherever it is, here's your opportunity while you're in high school as a sophomore, junior, senior. You can go for 2 or 3 hours out of the day, and you can go and you can learn from true chefs. You create menus, and then once a week, you actually open the restaurant and you get fed by students. You get served by students.
Love that.
I love it.
It's crazy. So when they called me, they asked me to come in, and they asked me to talk about my rubs, talk about proteins, and they were joining they were joining the High School Barbecue Association. And I'm like, get out of here. This is awesome. And so I went in, started talking to their chefs, and I got a couple good friends that work part of what they do. And we you know, laid down, you know, some timelines for them and watched them cook, and they went and cooked their first contest beginning of December. And I mean, it's a little different. They do some different stuff. So, I mean, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong. They did grilled cheese. They did chili. They did chicken. They did ribs. They did brisket.
They did tri-tip.
And they did
ribeye. It rotates every year with what they're doing, but I think it sticks with a few different things. They do some sort of Dutch oven type cooking. And then I think they did a dessert or something along that line, but it slowly is modified year after year.
I love that they're doing that in schools now. Like, you know, back in the day, you know, trade school was a huge thing, and like they taught trades in schools. And now, like I did this last year at my alma mater. I went in and they have a culinary class, and the teacher knew I did the barbecue thing, and she asked me if I could come in and kind of do a quick little tutorial. And I tell you what, those kids that were there, like, they ate it up, and they were very attentive, and like they wanted to learn. And I told the guys, I said, man, I tell you what, I mean, you want to impress some ladies? I mean, step up your
Learn to
cooking skill.
cook.
Yeah, learn to cook. I mean, that's an attractive, both sexes. I mean, it's an attractive skill, and you can add that to your repertoire when you get to college. You may make some noise. But no, I think it's a great thing. Here in Clarksville, Tennessee, where I am, a good buddy of mine, Andrew, at A&R Barbecue, he is teaming up with a local high school, and they are getting into the high school competition barbecue, which I think is fantastic. And if you're not a supporter, and I know all of us, all you guys are, but anybody watching, I mean, if you have any opportunity or ever get asked to help with that, I mean, highly recommend going out of your way. If not, I mean, why are you even in this sport? If you're not promoting it from the ground up, I mean, that's how this sport, there's always conversations about how, competition barbecue is, on the downtrend and stuff like that. And it's programs like that will help keep us from looking silly with our high-end grills, later on, if there's no competition barbecue. Like, it's going to keep feeding the beast of new competitors out there.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the next generation. I mean, if we don't start teaching them, my kid, he won his first GC this year. Right. At 14. And watching that was probably one of the coolest moments in my entire life.
Oh yeah.
And
Melissa's doing World Junior Barbecue League. There's efforts to constantly, which, by the way, shout out to Melissa and World Junior, because have you guys ever seen or tracked these competitions and the payout that these kids are getting?
Oh yeah, dude, and those kids, you ever watch like the shows that you see, like Master Chef, like Junior and all that stuff, and these kids are cooking these meals. I'm like, what in the hell are these kids? Like, how in the hell does this kid know how to cook? I don't know how to cook this. Like, I'm over here like taking notes. I'm like, he did what?
I can't even make a tournament.
Yeah, I'm like, shut up, Matt. But I was like, man, like I'm like, truly, I love seeing people succeed, and I get blown away sometimes when watching all these like kids out there just kicking ass, and I also get a little discouraged because I'm like, they are so much better than me, and they're 14.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and like I said, with at the Rib Cook-Off Association, they had s'mores for the kids, just getting involved and being a part of it. And there was a gentleman, correct me if I'm wrong, the name. There was a gentleman that they announced that had like paid for all the entry fees and all the awards, all the money for that Rib Cook-Off Association and stuff, just because he's a part of what's going on, and he's been around the barbecue world for a long time, and he wants to continue to grow that. And I'm so old, all we had was home ec, so I would take home ec classes. That's the way it is. And so I got a brother-in-law, he's in Oregon, and he's a chef, and his restaurant backs up to the school, and he's been last 2 weeks he's been teaching classes, and I've been talking to him. He's like, man, this is the greatest thing I've ever been a part of, just being able to teach these things to these kids. And so that's what it's all about. And I know that Josh and I have had the opportunity to do that. One of the coolest things we ever did was a kids Q class when we were back at Casey Grilling Company in Olathe, and that was so much fun getting kids in there and teach them a little bit how to handle fire, how to handle meat. Like the first time London cooked, there was he had gloves on and he was grilling, and a little dog came over, and he's like, "Hey, doggy, like, you can't touch the dog and then go back and touch the hamburger." But these kids don't know these things, and
no, food safety is big.
Yeah, a lot of kids just sit down at the dinner table and they wait for their parents to give them what they're gonna eat, and it's great to be in a world where people are getting their kids more involved into cooking and including them. The very first time my kids did competition barbecue, I was they did a kids Q, and I was a wreck. And we were in Owatonna, Minnesota. They take the kids, they put them in their own little area, and I was so nervous, and I was so excited for my daughter, she said I stressed her out because I was like, "Hey, don't forget this, don't forget that," and she like turned in one of her slider buns upside down.
It is so hard to coach from because you just want to jump in but yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm sorry, Jeremy. Funny story. So what I do with Jeremy, like with London now, I let Jeremy coach him. When he wants to come cook and do that stuff, I walk away. He listens to Jeremy as much as he listens to me, and I know he does, and we cook all the time together.
Yeah.
In there, I get emotional, and he gets emotional, and it's just like I don't need all that.
Mm-hmm.
I know he doesn't need all that. I know Jeremy, and like with his background, education, and what he does, I know he can like, let's go. And London's like, okay, let's roll. You know,
I think sometimes it takes sometimes it takes an outside voice.
Yeah,
you know, mom and dad are lame, and don't know what you're talking about. But they're friends. That's a different story. That's how I thought it was with my kid. Like, my friends can tell my daughter to do it one way, and I'm like, I've been telling that for 3 days. yeah, dad, but whatever. I'm like, and he knows what he's doing. I'm like, well, fair enough, but I do too. I do too.
Absolutely.
I want to touch base on another. I mean, obviously, you guys are badass barbecue cooks and are fantastic in the barbecue community. But another thing you guys are obviously known for, which we touched base with, is your rubs and how amazing they are, and the color that you get off these. Like I told him, is up there with another great rub that I'm a big fan of. And tell me a little bit about your rubs you got. So you got 3. You got the sweet, which is one I have currently and may or may not use in some of my programs. And then you got the spicy. I don't know if I should tell that because people are like, oh, he uses that. I ain't using that. No. If there's any fail, it's not the rub. It's by far, like, there's tons of winners. It's me. But it's not the bullet's fault. It's the shooter. No, the sweet, the heat, and the garlic, right?
Yeah, no, spicy, and then the new sweet garlic that just came out right before Christmas. I have a 13-year-old. He'll be 14 in September. He lives in LA with his mom.
God bless you, sir.
Absolutely. He got to try the garlic years ago, and he has been asking me for years, like, Dad, will you just bring the garlic out? Will you please bring the garlic out just so I can buy it in California? I'm like, you don't buy shit anyways, dude. I send you everything. Like, come on, man. Like,
I'm paying you for it.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, and he's like, we just bring it out. So, like, I mean, because otherwise I was making it in the kitchen here just for us and, for other people to have or to play with or whatever the case is. And to be 100% honest, this is no bullshit. I never intended it to be a comp rub at all. And everybody will make it a comp rub. And, it's funny because a year ago I gave it to 2 different teams, and one of them's on here right now. I see him commenting, and he killed it in ribs in KCBS this past year. And he came up to me at one point, and he's like, when are you going to start using your own rub? And I'm like, God damn it. Like, are you serious? and it's just funny because I'm excited that it works, but like, I love seafood. When I'm out there with London and I'm on the West Coast, I mean, they don't know how to season shit. And so that's one of my things is like, this is a great seafood rub. I will tell you, you add 2 tablespoons of this to 8 ounces of sour cream. It is the best dip you will ever have when it comes to vegetables and chips. I mean, Jeremy and I have been using this in turkey cooks, putting it on turkey sliders as like our mayo or our schmear or whatever you want to call it. And I'll it's great.
Keep it coming. More recipes. What was that? What's another one you saying?
Yeah, right. A Chex
sour
Mix.
Cream. We were introduced to a lovely beer dip. Put some beer with some cheese.
Hey, I'll lay it out. Donnie Teal, Hall of Fame Donnie Teal, Mr. Buffalo, hits me up and goes, hey, DeWitt, I got a free one for you. I won't charge you for this one. And goes, try this. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. And it's a beer, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. It's
I don't have cheese.
2 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese. It's how much of the rub did he say? Was it 2 tablespoons, Jeremy?
Couple tablespoons, and
you
mix it
all
up,
together.
it up, let it sit for at least a day or 2, And so I made it, and then I brought it to him, and we had it down there this weekend, and people were dipping like, "What's this?
Get the fuck out of here,
I brought little pretzels with it. Yeah, killer,
dude.
killer. Donnie's like, Donnie knows what he's talking about. So when he tells you this is good shit, you listen.
All right, tell him about the we talked about before the show when we're dropping recipes on here, and I gotta feed my people here. I gotta give them some great content. Let's talk about those little Cubano little rolls you were talking about. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, share the wealth. Bring it on here.
So one of the guys we got to cook with this weekend, actually, Jeremy and I, we've made Cubanos in one of our classes before, and we loved it. We used Travis Clark's, mustard. We used his pickles. And we made these killer sandwiches. And we got hooked up with a fire department. So actually, it was 3 different fire departments. I think it was Gordonville, Jackson. What was the third one, Jay?
Evansville or something.
It was somebody. Yeah, we were smoking timbers. It was 3 different ones that all got put together. And we got to talk before we came down and trying to figure out recipes on what we're all going to cook, so on and so forth. And they had a bunch of different stuff. And one of them that they came back and said, hey, we want to do these things called Cuban cigars. Jeremy and I are like,
I love smoking those.
Yeah, I do too. But like, what are we talking here? What is this? And they said, hey, you take, pork tenderloin, you cut them up in medallions, you pound it out, you season it with a rub, you put ham on it, you put Swiss cheese on it, you put mustard on it, you put pickles on it, you roll it up, wrap it with bacon, put it in the smoker. Came out the smoker. They sliced it up. Jeremy hollered at me. I don't know what I was doing. I was probably running around trying to talk to people that are.
Say it slower.
Yeah.
Say it slow.
And I came back over there and
put
Jeremy
this in your mouth. Shut up. Put this in your mouth.
Oh shit. Yeah. That's really good. And I was just like, I looked at Ryan Davies, who was like the head of their team, and I'm like, bro, let's go, man. And he's like, yeah, you think so? And I'm like, keep making them. Yeah. Let's go.
I mean, spicy rub. It was great. No sauce.
When you think about like the diets people are on that can't eat bread, here you go. Boom. This is the perfect recipe right here.
Yes, I can lose weight eating bacon and Cubans. That's what I'm talking about right here.
Great protein. And if you need any like whatever, there's some pickles in it.
No, yeah, pickles. It's some vegetables. That used to be a cucumber. It used to be a cucumber. Then it got American.
Absolutely.
So no. It was,
eat that thing and say America. No.
Golf of America, I heard.
Whatever.
It was great, man. No, those Cubanos were great. And I was very proud. And it was pretty cool to see that one of the teams, I mean, we'd cooked Cape Fire, those guys that we'd cooked with for years before. They just were always like, hey, whatever y'all want to do, we're down. Let's just roll. And I mean, that's what Jeremy and I did. We'd bring, 8 to 10 recipes down, and those dudes were sponges. These guys were like, hey, we got stuff we like to cook. And Jeremy and I were like, whoo, okay.
Let's go.
What are we doing? I mean, and they had a couple things that were just kind of like, okay. Like, and they had a Neiman Marcus dip where I wasn't real sure about it. They wanted to add some stuff to it, and it ended up being pretty good. But at the end of the day, I mean, out of the teams you were there, I mean, you got to think Heath was there, Mo was there, Megan was there, we were there, Tim was there.
Big Bobby T.
Sonny.
Sonny was there. John Wheeler was there. RJ Smokehouse was Seattle's Butcher wife was there.
Here's some hitters, man. I mean, that's if you anybody, like you said last episode, man, if you haven't been to the indoor barbecue contest in Missouri, I went there last year. That's where I met these boys, and holy crap, it's worth the entry fee just to eat, because all the food that all these genius chefs like these boys here put out, that sample out for free. Oh, chef's kiss. It's just chef's kiss.
It's crazy. I mean, it absolutely
so
is
good.
Crazy. And we're all cooking the same proteins.
Yeah.
We're all cooking the same stuff.
Pork loin, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and ground pork. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do with that? And then this year they threw in a couple
pork butts,
pre-cooked pork butts. So that was something else we were into. I think last year they threw in some steaks, but we were able to knock out those things. We did some. We turned the ground sausage into some Italian. We were able to do some pulled pork sliders with Josh's, this crazy slaw, jalapeno pineapple slaw. We did some carnino tacos.
Yes.
So our buddy Justin West was there. I know there's a few other people understand and know this recipe. But there was a jalapeno, avocado, lime crema that we were able to put on it.
I think Bobby Oliver's in the room right now. I'm pretty sure he knows
this.
Yeah. You might not have seen that what we're talking about, but that stuff drizzled on top of it. And then we did this. So took chicken thighs. We take chicken thighs, season them up, throw them on the grill, season them with some Hey Girl Hey, some of her rub, and then season those up, and then we were able to shred them and throw them in with black beans, some corn, some like rotel. We sprinkled some lima loca in there, and then we put them into a scoop, like a little Tostito scoop chip, and a little cheese on there, and a hit of that sauce we talked about just a minute ago, and we were calling them like a little chicken nacho bite. Well, last year when Justin West was with us, he started calling them a chicken or Texas wonton. So that was our little Texas wonton, and those things were just bite-sized, just goodness and just bam.
Dude,
I love that.
I knew I should eat before I got on the show. Like I'm over here, like just like starving, like so bad. I'm trying to be on a diet, and you assholes are talking about all this damn food. I'm like, I'm gonna have like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich upstairs. That's all I want to eat.
Yeah.
Avocados and lime, and
Hey, I like guacamole. That's all good.
Oh, dude, this
jalapeno.
sauce.
That's right. But hey guys, go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say, I will tell you, Jeremy, for whatever reason earlier, he must be drinking a Bloody Mary or something. I don't know what he was doing over there, but
I thought it was Top Ramen. I thought it was Top Ramen. I was like, this dude eating ramen on our show, but
he held up a bottle that shouldn't have gone home with him, but went home with him. That I took down there, and he's teasing it. I have a fourth coming out.
Uh-oh. Any drops? Any hints at what it could be?
Yeah, Jeremy showed to him.
I'm putting it in my beer right now.
Oh, so it's got salt in it, right?
It does. It does. It's very. I will say I'm gonna call it what everybody calls their SPGs. I'm gonna call it SBG.
All right.
It's gonna be a salt butter garlic.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of umami. There's a lot of mushroom powder. There's garlic. There's white pepper, black pepper. Obviously, there's some salts. It's very, very fine. Jeremy and I have been using it as a finishing dust on briskets this past year. It actually helped us raise scores this year. We've let a handful of people here that are close to us try it. I've let some other people like this weekend try it. When you start talking mushroom powder and you're talking umamis and stuff, you start talking about MSG in a real MSG and not the fake shit. And this is all real. And
straight from China.
Yeah, right.
Are you guys
not that accent shit?
Straight from Wuhan.
Obviously the mushroom variety. Are you smoking these mushrooms? Are they just straight dehy? Are they seasoned before is there?
Since college.
Okay.
Oh, so you're just eating the mushroom. That's why they taste so good. I can see the judges like, whoo.
We tripping, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So all my stuff's made with Tastemaker out of Mississippi, and I'm very blessed to deal with a co-packer that got my back. And when I got some crazy ideas and I got ingredients that I've been playing with, and I send off recipes to them, and they're like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Just make the shit.
Yeah,
let's go.
Just do it.
Let's see what comes up." And then they send it back. I mean, I remember when I got it back, and Jeremy and I were in the hood of Kansas City because they had this crazy gas station dude pop up with this pop-up restaurant inside of it. And he's like, "I want to go check this place out." And I'm like, "All right." So Jeremy and I met up down there, and I'm like, hey, bro, check this out. He was standing next to my car, and he's like, what is this? I'm like, just taste it. He goes, what is it? I could just taste it. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, really, really?
Holding on to this?
Like
he thought it was a drug. I mean, he totally let down. He's like, just try this. Try this right here. This is powder. This powder right.
What are you guys doing over there? What you guys got?
But dude, I mean, it's so good. It's so fine.
Yeah,
it melts. Yeah. And so
that's a great finishing. Yeah, for sure. Then
so like on your vegetables, on your potatoes for roasting potatoes. I mean, it can be used in so much stuff. Jeremy's putting in his beer right now. I mean, I put it
on my eggs this morning. So I did some biscuits and gravy. And I'm a big 2 sunny side up eggs on top of my biscuits and gravy kind of guy. And I like that to go. So in my fried eggs there, I put a little bit of it on top of it. So it's a little bit different. We use an SPG layer in our comp side of things. It's going to be a little bit different than your SPGs that are out there. They're not going to be as this is going to be way finer than the coarseness is going to be different. We like to layer a little bit of, that SPG down and then layer it on top with the garlic and the sweet and the spicy and go those layers with that. But this would be something, like I said, his son, when we were down in Osceola, he won steak with it and finished it with it, and
I bet it'd be fantastic on beef.
So it's crazy. I mean, it really is. I mean, when you taste it and
it's unique. Yeah, it's not as thick and coarse.
It's like when you taste. I mean, I don't even know like how to really explain it. It's like you get those crazy pretzels that you taste that are just super addictive, and you keep getting. And I like when after I sent the recipe off, and like they'll send me like 5-pound bags back or 2-pound bags back, and I'll get it and I'll sit here and I'll taste it, and then I'll divvy stuff up to give to certain people within my camp so they can go cook with it and do what they need to do and tell me they're like, hey, color's off or this is off. And like, I'll take it compared to my notes and, I'll go back to Tastemaker and say, hey, here's my thoughts. Here's what we need to play with. Here's what we need to do, and that's what you do with co-packers. That's what makes your rub for what you want to do for how you're doing it. And I sat here and no bullshit, like in the same position that I'm in right here, working on my computer. I tasted it, and I did it for about an hour. And I just kept doing it because it was so addicting for what it was. And I'm just like, call my wife, and I'm like, we're in trouble. Like this shit's out of control. Like I don't know what to do.
It's that mushroom. It's that psychedelic, baby. It hits you.
Yeah.
It's not.
You're gonna give me trouble.
Look, the tasting notes on the side of the bottle said the snozberries taste like snozberries.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Time out. You said this is PG, but have you ever researched what a snozberry is?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Look it up.
No idea. No idea what snozberry is.
I'm a huge Willy Wonka fan, but his garlic took forever. So hopefully this doesn't take forever and it gets out there quicker than it does. But this thing has won championships.
Can't wait. I cannot wait to try it.
Championships, and a couple of guys were using it undercover, and it's one of those things like, hurry up, come on. But like everything else, Josh's feet are ugly. He can't sell his feet on, OnlyFans. We got to find money elsewhere. So, and he sure as hell doesn't have the moves as a stripper. So, got to find.
I don't know. What are you talking about, man? Coming to the stage, lady. Coming to the stage. Candy.
That's too funny.
Yeah,
he works that pole like a big rig trucker. Here we go.
Hey, what would your stripper name be? Where'd you grow up on?
Oh no, hold on. That's gonna be. Hold on, say that. I'm saving that one.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah. So like I said, it's getting a little late. I could talk to you guys for another 2 hours, but our listeners, attention spans it's narrow, so we're gonna wrap this up. And with that, it's time for our Brothers Q Barbecue Supply lightning round, brought to you by Brothers Q Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue needs. Gentlemen, this is a time of the show where I ask you 10 questions.
Oh shit!
And or maybe not 10, maybe just some questions. It's quick little one-liners, and don't think too hard. And you ready to roll?
Yeah, let's go.
Bring it.
Well, it's ready or not. Here we go. All right, ladies. Going to it. When you're at a barbecue competition, what is one thing you always have with you, and you cannot say thermometer, aka thermopin?
Vodka.
Liquid
My
IV.
man. that goes together like peas and carrots. All right, man. Going forward, if you had to marry, screw, and kill these 3 proteins, which one would you do? Ribs, chicken, and brisket.
Oh man,
I'd be ribs.
You would what? You would what ribs? What would you? Would you marry ribs?
I'd marry ribs. I'd screw chicken.
I bet you would. And you kill. I'm kidding.
Brisket.
I'm messing with you. I got to be nice to our guests. My apologies.
I don't,
you, Jeremy?
I don't cook the chicken. That's Jeremy's shit. So I mean, that's why I don't cook it.
Jeremy, how about you, buddy?
oh, definitely. I'm definitely marrying brisket, because I think that's the go-to thing there. That's the queen of it. And then you gotta have a love-hate relationship with chicken. And
Yep.
I think your side piece ribs,
Yeah, fair enough. Man.
Because with me, I really like to cook ribs on the side.
I got you. All right, man. You guys are going on vacation. You going to the beach or you going to the mountain?
I'm going to the beach.
Yeah, I'd say I'm going to the beach too.
Yeah.
All right, man. Do you have like the a logoed mankini, the JDQ mankini going on when you go down?
Logan, you see me? I'm albino white, bro.
Hey, man,
I'll be
ski them slopes. You know what I'm saying? Somebody be skiing them slopes.
I'll be the dude in a sweatshirt and sweatpants out on the beach, bro.
His wife has a swimming suit with his face on it.
Oh yeah, woo.
Absolutely, she does.
My wife does too. Has face with Josh's face on there. No, man.
And
you guys, as she should.
Yeah.
You guys are at a competition. What's your walk-up song?
All I do is win. By DJ
All
Khaled. All I do is win, no matter what.
Yes.
Josh's
I've heard that song before, once or twice.
Yeah, Josh's is usually "Let It Go." Elsa. Frozen,
I always do Dealer's Choice, and they usually like a Virgin or Spice Girls or something sexy.
Yeah.
Wow. We're gonna walk to one song and one song only, and that's Fergalicious. No, Fergie. No, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, last but not least, man. What if you guys were low on funds and had to come up with some money quick? What would your stripper name be?
Oh shit.
Well, I think you got to go with your street name and your dog, right? So mine would be Sandy was my dog, and I lived on Cherry Street, so Sandy Cherry.
Dude, you were made for a stripper. Like that's like I've met both of those girls, Sandy and Cherry.
Or Cherry Sandy. I don't know which one you want.
Cherry Sandy, Cherry. Sandy Cherry hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I'm new to the game.
How about you, Josh?
I mean, if we're rolling with those, I mean, mine would be Blanca 115th Street.
It sounds like you strip at a club called Beef or something. It's one of those nights. No,
dude,
man.
Jeremy, look what Mitchell just said.
Yeah, he's correct. Small rental car. So
small rental car.
So when you're flying into Atlanta and you're picking up a rental car and you just have 2 dudes and a couple bags, you're not expecting to pick up 3 freaking homeless people that need a ride. So we Ubered people around Atlanta, so the Kansas City guys Ubering, Oklahoma and Georgia people around.
Mitchell's definitely something else. That guy.
Like
have you ever met Dirk Mullins and Jody, who own the Rib Cook-Off Association?
I think I met them once last year.
So if you can picture, I didn't even know what kind of rental car we had. I was in that car. Yes, you were, Dirk. So you had Dirk on one side, you had Mitchell on the other, and you damn near had Jody up in the middle of Jeremy and I trying to get on the back seat.
I bet those suspensions were y'all turned that car to a lowrider, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
It was some sort of like dart or something. I don't know what it was.
What Jeff Foxworthy say? Yeah, what Jeff Foxworthy say? I'm gonna turn this Ford Fiesta into a hot air balloon with all these air miles.
Yeah,
see more hang time than a hot air balloon. Yeah,
it was definitely cheap, like Blanca 115.
Oh, hey, come here, baby. Come here, baby. I got you.
Hey.
I come from a family of 6. My dad drove a 1984 Toyota MR2. I used to drive on his knee. My mom sat down. My sister was on the floorboard. My other sister and brother would stand behind the driver's seats of my dad and mom. 6 humans and a Toyota MR2. Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
That's true.
That's love.
Right
That's why the family unit was so tight back then.
Yeah, that's the 80s.
You rode around like that. Yeah. We survived on Marlboro Reds and no seatbelts, so we're good, man. We survived.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, thank y'all so much for coming on the show. I truly appreciate it, man. It's been a blast. Like I said, I could continue for another 2 hours talking to you gentlemen. So it's been fun. I love when guests come on like you guys, and it's just easy. Hey. It's a good time, and I truly appreciate it. So tell the guys tell everybody where they can find you. I know you guys have a sponsor teams. Have y'all picked out Team JDQ Boom this year already?
To be honest with you, I'm not going to. I'm pretty
not
happy
doing it
with
this
the
year?
teams I'm pretty happy with the teams that I got.
Nice.
I do have a couple that I'm probably going to bring on with me this year, and I know there's a couple that have decided that they're not going to do competition barbecue anymore this year, and so I'm just that was probably one of the craziest things I've ever done is opening up that sponsorship thing. But no, we're gonna have some fun.
Good, man.
We appreciate you, man. Anytime you want to do this, holler at us. We'll jump on.
Absolutely. We're going to do like right on cue after dark. I think that's going to be our next. Yeah, we'll bump up the ratings to TVMA or NC-17.
Where's Jeremy? He's over here. What are you trying to say, Jay?
The Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. No, it's over here. There you go. Jeremy's right there. What do you say, Jay?
I'll show my
There's
feet.
a story. Oh God, no. All right, on that note, man. Thank you, boys, so much. No, where can they find you? Where can they buy your rubs?
You can go to my website, jdqbooommmmmm.com. Other than that, I'll plug the Barbecue Pro Shop. I'll plug the barbecuesuperstore.com. Both of them are great online stores for what they do. I am not one not to talk to if you hit me up.
Absolutely.
Brother Supply, they were asking about it in the comments.
They did. I don't know who they are.
You should, because they're a sponsor of our show. So if all your barbecue supplies, make sure you check out Brothers Q Barbecue Supply.
Yeah, love to know who they are, and I can get them hooked up, and we'll get the stuff out there as well.
We will connect them, man. He is a great guy. Gary's a saint of a gentleman, and he's
Logan, send me their contact info.
I'll hook you up, man, for sure. But guys, thank y'all so much for coming on, man. I truly appreciate it. Make sure guys check out their website and or check out their rubs, and make sure you buy all their stuff. They got some new rubs dropping. Sounds awesome. And that's only cans /JDQ. So make sure you check them out. It's gonna be a good time. All right, boys. So y'all take it easy, man. I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, guys.
See you, buddy. Man, those boys are fun, man. I always love having them boys on. Like I said, this show's gone a little longer than normal, but it's a good one. It's worth it. Like you can't fit all this awesomeness into an hour and 15-minute show. So
it flows.
Yeah, man. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. You could be anywhere in the world, but you were here with us tonight instead of watching the Ohio State kick ass. Ugh.
They're gonna win it.
I hope they choke. But no, man, like I said, tune in next week. We got a great guest. I cannot wait to talk to them, and it's gonna be a good time, man. So without further ado, Matt, you got anything?
No, sir. Y'all be good. We'll see you next week.
That's right. And if you're in Nashville, make sure you check out Blinky's Offset Barbecue and get some of them hot cinnamon pickles. That's what I'm talking about. All right, boys. So without further ado, when it comes to barbecue, make sure you're always right on cue. Later, guys.
That's all, folks.